Hello, everybody. So it's Monday, 27th of July, and I've had a difficult couple of weeks. I've had gastroenteritis, and just starting to feel a bit better today. Fingers crossed. There's no, rumblings going on. I updated the blog yesterday, and actually noticed on the GoFundMe page that I can upload videos to that. It's taken me 2 months to realize this. So apologies for being so slow on the uptake with all of this kind of tech stuff. And yeah, words fail me. I mean, how do these influencers do this? How do you know what to say? Just they rhyme it off like yay, boo, wah. It's all coming out of their mouth, and I'm like, well, So GoFundMe is continuing, and what I'd like to add is that I am saving behind the scenes to obviously put money towards my own cause. And the reason I'm not adding that onto the total in the GoFundMe is because I can't say this. GoFundMe takes 5%, and obviously I need that money the most, so I'm keeping what savings I've got separate. That makes fiscal sense, doesn't it? Yeah, so I'm a lot more like bright and aware and alert this morning. I've had a couple of weeks off, and I spoke to a friend last night, had a really good raw about how I was feeling, about how the donations have plateaued, and how it's like frustration. What do I do next? And I feel a lot better after having verbalized it all to her in a private conversation. So and what came out of that conversation is that maybe I am going to be doing the London Psychiatry Clinic in a longer framework. I mean, a longer timeline. Sorry, that it won't be happening as soon as I perhaps thought it was. You think, oh, got to go fund me, and it'll be like, the money will be there, and it'll be ooh, everything's okay. But I think it's just going to take a little bit longer. So that was a good conversation with my old friend to accept that, raising the funds to make sure I have a safe experience with the keto intervention diet. And, she did ask, she said, why don't you do it on your own for a week to see if it'll give you more energy? And the idea is that it's not just a quick fix, it's like a long-term treatment, a long-term program, if you like, to change the body relying so much on glucose as to rely on ketones for fueling the brain and fueling the rest of the body. So it's a complete, people use the metaphor of you're changing from a petrol system to a diesel system. So you have to change, your whole attitude towards the food and what you eat and so on and so forth. So it's not just going to be a case of me being able to do this on my own and for my own safety and security with my mental health. If I start to become symptomatic, and what I mean by symptomatic is, paranoia and having sort of persecutory thoughts that I've done something wrong, and everybody's watching me, everybody's looking at me, and you think, oh well, everybody's on their phones and everybody's recording, and we do live in a surveillance system now. And I described my paranoia and my illness once as like having CCTV in your head where there's no escape from it, and you believe that you're being observed. And obviously these are very, very destructive thought patterns. If they were to re-emerge, then obviously I need the support and the professional clinical involvement of the psychiatrists and the dietitians at the London Psychiatry Clinic. So what I'm definitely still going ahead with this. This is still absolutely going to happen. Your money is the money that you're donating is going towards this cause, and the only thing that I kind of had a sort of reconciled in my mind yesterday was that maybe it's just not going to happen this year. Maybe it'll be maybe spring next year, you know, when I get enough funding that I feel secure enough to do this. And then should I need expert opinions and expert intervention, perhaps again with, you know, more therapy or more medication or a different medication or so on and so forth, you know, there needs to be a backup plan for me, because I can't risk having another psychotic episode. Psychotic episodes are really life changing, and it doesn't just take months, it takes years to recover. It takes years to get to a place in your life again where you actually feel that you can live as opposed to survive, with, you know, all of the symptoms themselves and the nature of the mental illness, and also, you know, the fallout and the, you know, reconstructing your life and redefining your life and making, you know, a life again for yourself after a psychosis is just it's hard work. And you know, the potential for sort of suicidal thoughts and thinking, well, you know, I have in the past been obsessed with death, you know, thinking that death would be the solution instead of having to live with my schizoaffective disorder. It was a case of, well, you know, death has got to be better than this because I just can't live with these thoughts in my head, and how confusing it is, and how frightened I was, and how insecure and unsafe I felt in the world as a person. So I'm hoping this gives a little bit more of a kind of insight as to why, you know, I absolutely need the funding for this. I need the funding to pay for the necessary skills of the clinical professionals to ensure that this is a safe transition for me into a different metabolic state. And as such, this is why I'm appealing again for your kindness and your generosity, and to continue to support me. Kind words, shares and likes, um, and obviously donations if you possibly can. So thank you for watching again. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to upload this onto the GoFundMe page, which, you know, ta-da! I've learned something new, which is great. So see you soon. Bye for now.